All right, you want me to do that intro?
Yeah, hit the intro, bro.
Bet. And then I can't see your face right now, but I'm sure that
hmm
won't be a problem for like the actual recording.
Oh yeah, it's fine on the
Um,
recording.
all right. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Walk Through Life. This is gonna be episode 8, and this episode is gonna be a little bit different. As you can see, I'm in handheld mode, which isn't a big deal for the actual streaming, but we'll be returning to desktop mode pretty soon here. For this episode, I'm bringing my friend Dylan, who I've actually had on previous episodes with before, and he's returning today. Partially what we want to talk about is he wanted to challenge me on a couple of the things that I brought up in episode 6, where I was talking a bit about like Christianity, religion, and like why I believe and stuff. And he's just gonna bring a different perspective today, and then we're just gonna, shoot the shit on whatever else we that comes up too. So I'll let Dylan kind of introduce himself again a little bit, and then however you want to take the conversation, man. I'm here to just kind of like field questions and field, your thoughts and stuff like that. So take it away, bro.
I got you, man. And first off, I want to say I did enjoy your episode. Like I thought that was cool. Like different direction, different vibe. And also it's not like I like we talked about this on so many occasions before. Like it's not like
Hmm.
this is a new topic of conversation for us.
Hmm.
But uh, in that episode, you said a couple things that just like I kind of disagree with, and I think from what you told me, the whole purpose of the podcast is to, you know, walk through life, talk to different people, get their perspectives. So I'm just here to share mine. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, bro. I'm curious. I'm curious. So I had him kind of wait to tell me what his challenging points were. So until this episode. So yeah, bro. Definitely just wherever you want to start. I'm
Yeah.
interested.
So the first point you made that I don't necessarily agree with is that like without God or Jesus or Christianity, life has no meaning, or like it has significantly less meaning. And I think that meaning is something that you create through your own like personal beliefs. And personally, I don't really believe in a higher power, but I do believe that like everything, like we're all part of the same like cycle, and being able to contribute to that cycle meaningfully is something that gives my life meaning. Like my participation in the world as a human and like living out my assigned role and like doing the best I can in my life is
Mhm.
meaningful to me. But that's also like you have to create your own meaning if you think that there is no God, as I do.
Yeah, I get that for sure. I feel like for me, believing kind of gave me uh, more of a reason to come up with a meaning and a purpose for myself. And it's like
Mm.
I do agree that we do have our own purposes, regardless of whether we're religious or not. And it's up to us. It's like our own individual responsibility to figure out and commit to those purposes, right? Um, and so like, and definitely, so do you believe in like, you have like a moral code of some sort, right? Like something
hmm
that you kind of live by, like a right versus wrong. You definitely have the concept of that like down and you feel confident about that, right?
Yeah, and I think also that is personal as well because I run into people like every single day who have different moral codes than I do, and reconciling that like there isn't one correct moral code because like I have like a set of principles that I try to live by, but those are mine, and people have like validly disagreed with them at many points. And I think accepting that that's part of life is really difficult, as opposed to Christianity just kind of tells you like, or Islam for that matter, or Judaism kind of tells you like this is the code to stick to, and you can judge based on that. You kind of
Hmm.
lose a lot of power in terms of like judging right and wrong, but I think you have to like formulate that yourself as well.
True. So Catholics sometimes, I'm not trying to generalize here, but like some Catholics that I've known personally have kind of tried to use their like if they're an upstanding, Catholic person who follows all the rules as they're supposed to, as directed by the Bible and stuff like that, they will feel this kind of sense of entitlement to where they can judge other people's lives and decisions and stuff like that. And I personally believe that only God can judge, really. Like I can give my opinions and stuff, but like I don't really feel like anyone has an obligation to listen to me if I like am saying that, what they're doing, what their lifestyle is wrong or something. If someone's eating just to become like morbidly obese and I'm like, I feel bad for them, they're gonna kill themselves just by eating, I can I can comment on that, but
So
it's not my responsibility to change them.
well, so there are things that like I would say, what do you do in that scenario where like both you and the church disagree on like even probably something I would disagree with like everyone says it's wrong. This always kind of confused me where you're like it's God people are in general are like it's God's place to judge
Mhm.
because like we do judge people all the time. Like that's part of living your life is having to judge people and make decisions based on those judgments. And so I kind of disagree with that whole sentiment of like only God can judge because like it's a pretty thing to say, but at the end of the day, you got to make judgments. Like is this person good to be around? Is did this person do a good or bad thing? Like if it's God's
Um,
place to judge, you have to be more neutral about that, but
for
yeah.
sure. I think I should clarify that to me, like there's judging someone's character, like determining whether that there's somebody that you should associate with.
Mhm.
And then there's kind of more of like a connotative kind of like meaning of judging that I see firsthand, which is like, oh, that person doesn't give to charities, they must be an awful person and I can't associate with
Ooh.
them. Like there's kind of, to me at least, I see it as two forms of judging. Like I agree with you that we should all be able to judge each other's kind of like a character. I think that's okay. But when it comes to a point where I don't know. I don't know. We only have so much control over other people and ourselves. Well, I mean, we have full control over ourselves. So I think the most important thing is before we judge anybody, even on a level of like trying to determine someone's character as being like fitting as a friend or something, we have to know ourselves 100%. And like, I'm on a journey to still discovering like everything about myself too. So I just
Yeah.
don't feel like in a way where I couldn't really talk down on anybody. I know I have before in my past, but those are times that I regret and that I'm trying to change. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that's a good point.
dude, that's yeah. I agree with a lot of things you said there, like 100%, because I feel like so context for viewers, because you know this obviously, but I grew up Catholic and I was very Catholic for 19 years. And then during COVID, I kind of stopped and I had a lot of time to reflect. And now that's not. I still have a lot of love for a lot of people I met back then, but not my thing anymore. Um, but yeah, definitely there. I would say judgment is more of like a spectrum than a like one single action. Like um, and then there's also like their actions and then how much you react to that judgment, like how much it influences your life or whether you're just judging to judge like you talked about.
Right. And another thing too, so since you'll probably be able to understand this a bit since you have spent some time like in Catholicism. So
Mm-hmm.
where the definition of judgment from Catholics from Catholics are God, when you die and you're like, oh, you believe in going to heaven and stuff, God
Mm-hmm.
will judge you on that day, and there's judgment day. That's what judgment is, deciding whether you get into heaven or not.
Yeah.
And when you bring that down to a human level, that's why I really say we can't judge, because you can't tell somebody they're going to heaven or hell. You don't
Yeah.
even know whether you're going to go to heaven or hell, or whether it really exists or not. So like, who are we to
Facts.
say? And it goes on too much, and that kind of bothers me a bit. So I just kind of want to like be someone that pushes against that, yeah, definitely just be the type that's like we can have our own version of judgment. That's not like, it doesn't put us on a pedestal. It
Yeah.
only is just like a voice of reason for us. Like
Dude,
that's
I
where
I think that's a
yeah.
really compelling thing to say. Like in religion, it comes down to the one big decision at the end, whereas
Mm,
for someone like I don't really believe in an afterlife, so it's kind of like a on the fly, like ad hoc, like always happening type of thing. Like lots of
mm,
little decisions that all kind of add up, versus like we don't really know about the one big decision. So I think that's just like a fundamental difference, but um, you know, that's allowed. That's for sure allowed.
definitely. Okay, that was a great first point. So We touched on that. I know what's up.
Oh yeah, but then the second one, which I this is I have much more contention with the second thing I'm about to bring up.
Okay.
First thing was you can create your own meaning. Second is you said why not essentially, like what do you have to lose by having faith? And my answer to that is I'm not trying to believe in some shit that I don't think is true. And that is where faith comes in because you don't know it's true, but you choose to have faith. But then at the same time, it's like if I fundamentally like lack faith and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna cover all my bases, like then I'm wasting my time. And I feel like,
What do you mean by cover all the bases?
oh yeah, just like hit up church on a Sunday and like pray every night, like just because like not even though I don't really believe in a God, like say, oh well, like I can't hurt. I think that
Right.
was part of the
Got you.
argument you brought up um,
Hmm.
as well. And to that, I would just say like I don't think it's true, and wasting my time on shit I don't think is true is like that's my mo. Don't waste time
Definitely.
on stuff I don't believe in.
Right. That's completely fair. It's not like I can really debate you too much on that, and I'm not really going to try and change your mind too much on that.
For sure.
All I can say is, my counterpoint was just going to be exactly what you already said. It's like it's a matter of faith, and you either choose to have it or you don't. And at one point, I just chose that. If to me, it just felt like it didn't sit right with me to not choose faith.
Hmm.
And that's just a personal thing, and maybe someday for you that'll change, and maybe one day it won't. Usually for me, it's like something that I see that's just like kind of undeniable, like in the moment, like some like I feel like real life miracles happen, and it's
Hmm.
things like that that I see, and then I also see like disasters happen in a time where I see a lot of like evil shit going on in the world. So I always feel like there's kind of like this karmic like energy out there, and so the one best way I've been able to describe it all the time is just through God.
I got you.
So
Oh,
yeah, it's yeah, you either
I
believe it or you don't. That's cool.
so based on that, I think I knew like before we had the conversation we were going to be on roughly the same page because like we have respect for each other. It's
Yeah.
that's that. But my like follow up point is um, you should generally respect people's faith. However, sometimes people's faith goes too far. Like even though that's kind of something,
Extremism. Yeah.
yeah, extremism, absolutely. So I was gonna ask, like, what's the line? Do you think?
So extremism, I haven't done too much research on because it feels like it's not a waste of time. It's the same as like I want to explore what Satanism is to a T, and like, dude, like no, dude, like for real. I was talking about this earlier with another buddy of mine. Like eventually, I want to like I know it might be bad to even like take a look at a book of like a Satanist Bible, but I'm really curious to say like to see what their instructions and stuff like that are, just for like the purpose of knowledge. And so I don't know too much about what drives people over the edge or what that boundary is. Well, I can tell you what the boundary I think is for
Mm-hmm.
like Catholicism. Let's say we have the Ten Commandments and stuff, and usually extremists are doing things that break the commandments. So they're not even following. They're just taking and like they're just crazy people who want to. They have an agenda, and
Mm-hmm.
they use religion as a vessel to try and achieve that agenda and build a following so that they can justify it. So I really just think it's like the line is when you catch somebody that isn't truly following what the religion tells them, um, in order to achieve something.
What
And
what do
yeah,
you think about people trying to make like religious courses like mandatory in public schools?
that's bullshit. That's just my belief, and
So
I'm interested to see what you feel about that too.
okay, let me respond by saying like um, we're gonna get into a discussion about this. Um,
Yeah.
but some shit absolutely is off the table. I would say anything like sexualized with children because that often get lumps in there, and I don't even want to go there. Like that's off the table, of
Hmm.
course.
Hmm.
But I wanted to ask, when did you first have like sex ed and like sex introduced into your life through like a knowledge standpoint? Not like when did you lose your virginity, but like when did you like become aware of sex?
It was starting in middle school. starting in sixth grade, and I still felt like I think the only reason they started doing that early was because like that's when just kids started to they knew that kids were starting to just like experiment and try new things and stuff. So they just taught us safe sex. They taught us the dangers of STDs. You know, we took sex
Hmm.
ed. It
Yeah,
was probably sixth, seventh, eighth grade. Yeah, middle school
yeah.
for me.
That's about when mine started as well, and I think that was fine. Started when puberty starts.
Hmm.
So let me ask you a slightly different but similar question. When did you first find out about gay people?
Oh, that's a good question. I think honestly, probably probably middle school too, because I don't think anybody was like openly gay at my elementary school that at least I can remember. So I never really like met any. I don't know if I met or remember meeting any like gay people.
Yeah,
Like none of my family members, not a single one, is gay.
yeah.
So I
Do you
didn't have
think that
much experience.
do you think that maybe as a kid, like you come up now and you see a bunch of like, um, there's like gayness in the media. They got like Pride Month and all that. I I think generally it's worthwhile showing kids like, hey, there's rainbow flags everywhere. Like, let's figure out what this is. Because of course it's not wrong to be gay. It's not wrong to be transgender, and kids probably have like a really difficult time navigating that. And I think shit has changed because like when we grew up, I also was not aware of like what gayness was until I was in like middle school because that was when we started learning about sex. But like, I think kids might even need a introduction to it sooner because it's happening so much. I'm not saying like you gotta give them like a full debriefing on which genitals go where, but like be like, hey, there's some people that's gay. Let's read a book where two characters are gay. Like, I don't think like there are people that are gay in real life, so I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to be teaching them about that because it's something that's happening. It's like teaching kids about like racism and shit. Because
Okay. Well, okay, so if I could just put this point in. So
mm-hmm.
you're say I mean, I agree with you that it's okay and it's totally fine to teach them, but does that mean that it has to be mandatory taught in a school?
Ooh, ooh, that's a really good question because it's against
You
some
know?
people. It's against some people's faiths. It's like
Yeah.
explicitly against most Christian
It's just
religions
a
to be
it's just a
transgender.
personal thing, just like religion is. So I just feel like anything personal like that should just be left out of the classroom. That's just how I feel, you
Ooh,
know?
I think the benefit you get from the empathy and considering other people's experiences outweighs whatever personal shit you got going on. Because what if you were part of a religion that said it's okay to be racist? Like, do we have to respect that?
I don't know if there's any what I'm sure there's I mean,
Oh,
I'm sure there's a
this
religion
is
out there that says some bullshit, but yeah, yeah,
this,
hypothetical,
this
purely
is for sure
hypothetical.
hypothetical.
Yeah, yeah, right. I get what you're saying. I think there should just be, I think there should be more responsibility placed on parents to educate their kids, both on, uh, like that's not a place to say it's right or wrong in my eyes. I don't think
Okay.
there's anything wrong with gayness. I don't think there's anything wrong with transgenderism. But I have a problem with it being taught in classrooms because exactly that. It's just people are going to see it differently. Some people will get offended that it's being taught. Some people are going to be offended that it's not being taught. And so if there's so much contention against it, then why not just have it be a responsibility and choice of the parents whether they want to educate their kids or not. And the product will be like just the results are shown in how the kid is raised and how they end up and their
Mm-hmm.
compassion and like capacity to have empathy for other people. I think I've had to grow a lot into a more empathic person because I've been sheltered from a lot of this stuff and I've been told that a lot of this stuff is wrong my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
um and that's been hard for me, bro. It's been hard for me. It almost got me fucking, I mean, it's gotten me into some bad arguments where like entire friend groups have turned on me because I accidentally just like repeated some rhetoric. You have to develop a voice of reason for yourself as well. So I think that's an important lesson here.
I think so too. But if we could go back to the empathy thing,
Uh-huh.
it's empathy time. Um, what? So you're saying that this is the responsibility of the parents and all that, right? But what if your parents
Um,
aren't really in the picture? Like, what if you don't have a stable family
Oh,
situation?
oh, okay,
And
okay, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
because like I would also love to count on parents to teach children about tougher topics, but
Mhm.
people's family situation doesn't change the fact that the world is happening around them. Like, you can't say, "Oh, it's the parents' fault," but then like it's on the parents, but then the world keeps going. Pride Month is still happening. Kids going, "What's Pride Month?" And then if they get exposed to the wrong shit, like you were saying, then like they could grow up believing the wrong thing because they never had that parent to tell them it was wrong, and they just saw this like symbol and things happening and became hateful because of it.
All right, I have two propositions in response to that.
Or two propositions hit me.
Yes, sir. The first proposition is that it's also responsibility of the parents to be in the picture or not have kids. That's the way I see that. But there's unfortunate circumstances where that'll just happen anyways,
There's
right?
so many, bro.
There'd be there'd be unlawful incarcerations of both parents. I've seen that happen where you're just left like without a type shit. So okay, in that case, my second proposition is it would be cool to if there was like a position that at a school where you're a teacher, but you can have students kind of optionally sign up for this additional course where it's kind of just like a general like education type of thing. So if it's like you're just curious about things, you want to ask this person on campus that can answer questions like that for you about sex ed, about pride, about religion, about taxes, about our society and stuff like that. There should be somebody on campus that can respond to those, and not necessarily like teach whole classes, just be like a question and answer type
I
of person.
I think
I think that could be
I
useful.
think that's like what a counselor is supposed to be. But the problem with
Mhm.
the traditional school setup is you can't just like go to the counselor whenever. You're supposed to go to the counselor like when you're fucked up, and like you have to
Mhm.
be in class. You can't go to the counselor because you have to be in class. Like that's just the
Right.
way it works. And if there's like only a couple of them, they can't handle 600 curious kids like coming to them. That's how big my high school was, and I went to a small high school. Like, we had
Mhm.
four counselors, I think, so each of them had 150 kids, and they can't sit down and explain
Well,
like taxes.
see, I think that's an opportunity though for job opportunities and stuff. Because once we implement that, if we were to try that and it's very in demand, and there's a long wait list of like people like that's gonna gain some attention, and they're gonna be like, hey, we need more people. We need more people to help out with this, and figure out a way where we can make the money back. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, I feel like that. I don't know. That's just an idea of what might be able to fix that solution for kids who don't really have that education outside of that. I mean, so now that you say that too, like as I know, I just feel like as far as the education, it's okay in classrooms. I think as long as we're not trying to influence kids to be a certain way or not. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
feel like it's just a very tight line, like fine line, and I feel like it's very easy to cross. And I don't really trust a lot of teachers to not try to indoctrinate kids versus just purely educating them. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that that's definitely the case. Like, there's always going to be crazies out there, but there's going to be crazies in every sort of variety. And
Hmm.
just because we got crazies in the like LGBT variety doesn't mean that that's necessarily representative of like a whole population, or even a subject matter. Because, like, think if you had a history teacher that, oh, bro, I know you heard this. Like, the Civil War was fought about states' rights. Like, we allow that
Hmm.
type of indoctrination all the time. So I think we gotta do our best to minimize it on all fronts. But like, I don't see anything wrong with teaching about gay people in school or like
Yeah,
transgenderness, but there's so much
teaching
more to
about what it
unpack.
is, yeah, yeah, I feel, yeah, actually you're right, honestly. I mean, this is the most thought I think I've put into it for a long time, and so
Hmm.
now I'm kind of challenging my own opinions that I've just held for a long time and not had challenged. So I think you're definitely right, as long as it's like a moral education and just straight like just trying to
Yeah.
teach people so that they know what's going on around them, and not, yeah, so
Yeah.
okay, that's all good. Was there was there
You
anything else you wanted to discuss? Because my phone is at 2%. I don't know how much longer because I can't have the charging and be on this
yeah.
mic at the same time. But
No,
However you want
what
to do it.
the 2 points I wanted to bring up was like basically why not go through the motions of being Catholic just in case like it ends up working out. And then the other was that there's no meaning, and we addressed both of those. Like the um, why not kind of comes down to faith and how you choose to spend your time, and then
Mhm.
meaning is just kind of like an individual thing, but faith kind of helps give you like a track to
Right.
kind of follow. Did I summarize our conversation well enough?
Yeah, definitely. And then I just add to that, yeah, I want to reiterate that this isn't, I'm never going to try to convince anybody to be the way that I am. I can only try to just be like, just show that this way of life that I'm choosing has some fruits in it, and
Yeah,
I truly feel like blessed every day. I feel like it just reminds me to be thankful every day. It always teaches good stuff, and it never teaches me anything that could lead to me harming somebody or hurting someone's feelings. It's
yeah.
only good stuff that's in the Bible, in my opinion. So I just think it's really good.
We'll come back to
And yeah.
that. We'll come back to that one.
Oh god. That could be a whole other episode. And like, bro, I'm really trying to, yeah, I definitely want to talk to more people who
Dude,
are
we
in
we
disagreement
sh- we
because
should
this leads to great conversation.
we
Yeah.
should do a Bible study on the Book of Job because I
Mm,
really fuck with the Book of Job. I think it's a wonderful story and like it's cool.
yeah, bro. Yeah, well, I haven't really gotten to it in detail yet, but definitely we can set that up for any time. That's cool
Yeah,
that you want to do that.
yeah,
And yeah, bro. So yeah, I appreciate you wanting to come on and share your views and everything. We'll definitely have you on a future episode for we can talk about anything else. It doesn't have to be related to our beliefs necessarily. It could just be about fun shit. And it's a little bit more lighthearted. It doesn't always have to be challenging
for sure, for sure.
each other's views.
You know,
So great though.
but
Yeah.
I'm glad we got
Yeah.
this relationship where we can talk pretty honestly about how we feel. You know.
Yeah, it's important, bro. I once took a class in college. It was called Interfaith Dialogue. So, like, I've applied that to pretty much everything else to where if you just have a mutual respect for each other, then you guys can disagree, like, in a polite manner and just come to, like, a more of an understanding. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, I mean, my phone's at 1%. I don't want to cut out and die on you. So, I'm just going to do, like, a quick outro. Everyone, I appreciate you tuning in. And well, I'll catch you tomorrow for the next episode for episode 9. You guys have a great night and peace.
See you guys.